Hello there, this is Carrie Rhodes. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's card making video, I am using digital stamps from the Not Too Shabby shop. This is the Pupuccino digital stamp, and today's card is part of a challenge that I do every month with the Not Too Shabby digital design team, but you are invited to play along with us too. So this month, the challenge is to create a project using a digital stamp that has food in it and use a stencil. So this, like I said, is the Pupuccino digital stamp. I printed this out at 20% opacity as inspired by Biddy Penny. So Biddy Penny did 2 different cards and 2 different videos for this challenge, and this last one that she did no line coloring, and her hack is to print it out at a lower opacity so that the line is barely visible and you can do no line coloring. So I was inspired by her to give it a go. I'm not a pro at no line coloring, but I really wanted to make this image look like my dog, who is a cockapoo. So he has that kind of shaggy curly hair. So with my Copic markers, I decided I would give this dog that look. So as I'm coloring this, I started with my lightest color, excuse me, which is E00, and I went around this dog using some lines where I kind of feathered them out, like I'm doing here. So I was able to get that soft, furry look around the edge. Then I went in with my medium color, which is E11, and then my darkest color, which is E13. I did, however, end up going in with E23 to get some more definition. So I did all that around the edge, and then I'm going back in with those same colors and filling in all the open spaces. And I'm kind of using directional lines as to how my dog would look, like going around the nose and creating a rounded muzzle look, and having the hair come up from the nose in flicks around that area, because that's how it looks on my dog. So there was no actual coloring. This entire image was done with just those flicks. So again, those same 3 colors, and I just went back and forth, filling it in till I got the color that I wanted and the definition that I wanted and the blending that I wanted. And here I am just going in with my darkest color, creating those shadows. And my dog's ears are darker than most of the rest of his body. I'll have a picture of him at the end of this video so you can see how darling he is. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. You tell me. I think he's the cutest thing ever. His name is Toby, by the way, and he is about 1 year old, which has gone super fast. So in my heart and in my mind, he is still my baby dog. He probably always will be. So here I am blending all of that out with my E00. I did actually have to add more ink to that marker because I used it so much, because here's what happened. I colored this dog for my card and then realized that my camera had stopped recording to tell me it was low on storage. But it doesn't make a sound, so I don't know that that has happened. So I had to recolor this. So if this dog that I'm coloring right here looks a little different than the actual dog on the card, that's why. This is my second coloring. So now I'm going to have to make a second card and do something a little different with this guy because, yeah, that's what happened. I had to redo it. But I loved coloring it so much, and I felt like it was easier the second time because I'd already done it, so I kind of knew what I was doing. So here's one reason why I don't do no line coloring. It's because of eyes. I always jack up the eyes, but I felt like I did okay here. My dog's eyes are kind of hazel green, so I used a green and then went over it with my E11 marker. I think it's YG15. I cannot remember. It's there. I will show it in just a second. And then I did R20 for the tongue, which I love that color. It has a little bit of like an earthiness to it, so it's not too pink. It's like perfect for cheeks and tongues and lips and things like that. Love it. All right, so there is my whipped cream. It looks super gray there, but it will dry back lighter because I did my colorless blender right in the center. I'm not going to show right here the coloring of the cup on the original card. You can see there, I colored it in gray. Oh, see, YG11 is what I use for the eyes. But in the end, I ended up coloring my cup over top of the gray with red. It just needed to pop more. I printed out a second dog to create a mask because this is a or a one layer card. So I'm going to put some two-way glue on the back and let that dry and create a mask just using regular printer paper, but you can see it's not quite regular because I ran out of white. I had to use that pink. And while that was drying, I ran downstairs and made myself a Frappuccino smoothie. It was really yummy and helped me, you know, just have a wonderful time making this card. I have my smoothie, I have my card, my cute puppy. Yeah, it was tons of fun. So here I am cutting off the bottom of the mask because when I was cutting out the mask, I was only thinking about the top half of the card and not the bottom half. So I needed to cut that away. And I'm going to stamp this like checkered background stamp that looks like gingham cloth. It's so amazing. So I'm using some Cranberry Bliss ink, and I will ink that up 2 times because I want to have a really bold, dark, rich color. Also, when you're cutting out your mask, I like to cut exactly on the line because if you don't, you're going to get a white halo around your image, and you want that stamped image to go right up to the edge of your stamping. Here is where the stencil comes in. So I'm going to use a stencil to create, like wallpaper behind the dog at the coffee shop. And so I'm starting with putting some color behind where the stencil is going to go, so it's not just white. So I have my tea dye ink that I sponged on first, and then I'm going to put my stencil on where I want it and tape that into place, and I'll use my ground espresso, because it's coffee, right, ink around that. And this stencil is pretty cool. It's supposed to be like splashes or water, but I think it's a pretty cool decorative stencil too. So I'll link all of these things for you below. So if you're interested in any of these products whose names I can't always remember right when I'm talking to you, they're going to be down there in the description box below. Also on my blog. I don't know if you guys have been to the blog called carrystamps.com, but it's where I like to share all my things and in another format for you. So that's always there as well. I'm going to give a little bit more tea dye to that big white space. And then I felt like the dog did not pop quite enough and he kind of needed a shadow around him. So here is where I went in and added the E23 around the dog to just give it a little bit more of a shadow look, and it helps him stand out on the card instead of kind of blend into that background. So now I have my red marker to give a defined edge to my tabletop, and when I did this, it was like, I gotta color that cup. It needs to stand out a little bit, and this marker went really well with my tablecloth color. So I ended up recoloring my cup. Yeah, so I have my 3 shades of red here, and I went in with my medium one first, and then I'm bringing in my R39 as my darkest, and I used the chisel tip of the marker. I just felt like I was totally getting my money's worth using that chisel tip. Yeah, I was really proud of myself on that. I have to say I'm a little bit afraid of coloring things red with my Copic markers. Does the red just like want to go wherever it wants to go? Out of the line, over here, over there. It stresses me out. So I was brave, first of all, to do no line coloring, second of all, to do masking, and then this giant amount of red coloring. I love it when I step out of my box and am successful. It makes me so happy, so proud of myself. All right, so there's my red cup. Love how it turned out. And now I wanted to create more of a look where the dog was the star of the card. So I went ahead and took a makeup style blending brush and took that ground espresso and went around the top of the card. And that just helps, again, draw your eye into the center. And then I did the same thing along the bottom of the card with that tablecloth and that Cranberry Bliss ink. And this is where those teeny tiny makeup style blending brushes come in really super handy. That's what I used there. Isn't it coming together so good? I'm happy with it. All right, so I wanted to use my gel pen. I think I showed the gel pen already in the coloring portion, but I had to redo the gel pen on the red cup. So that's why I was doing that right there. Now I'm going to take this cute stamp set from the Not Too Shabby shop, which also has a puppy, but the puppy's in the cup. Yeah, isn't that cute? And it's got perfect sayings for this digital stamp. I was so happy to put the two together. And I have one part of the saying that's going to be on the cup, a puppy latte, and then the second half will go right below that. So I'm so happy to have another use for my Pup in a Cup stamp set. I'll have that stamp set linked for you below too. It was both of these images, or this digital image as well as the Pup in the Cup stamp set, were hand drawn by Jamie, who is the owner of the Not Too Shabby shop, and I think they're adorable. So I'm embossing both of my sentiments with some white powder, the longer sentiment on some brown cardstock, and then I did a puppy latte right on the cup because I feel like, you know, they write on your cup and it was a latte for a puppy, so it kind of made sense a little bit. Yeah. So I'm gluing that down onto the tablecloth portion of my card. And also, I did not show this, but when I created this stamped and the background with the dog and the stamping and the stenciling, I cut off quite a bit off the bottom and saved that. So that's going to come into place here in a minute. And now I'm gluing on some red hots from Honeybee Stamps. I love these hearts. Some of them are quite translucent and the others are a little bit cloudy, and they each have like just a tiny different hint of red or tint of red. So they're kind of fun, and I thought they went really well with this card. I wanted to use those coffee beans in the upper right corner, but they were a little bit too fat, like thick. So save those for something else. I'm gluing this onto my slimline card, which measures 8 3/4 by 4. I usually go 9 inches long on this card, but it just worked out to be a little bit shorter this time. So here I am using that extra piece that I cut off the bottom, and I'm going to use it as a pocket for a gift card, right? Whenever I make a coffee card, I feel like it has to have a gift card in it to go get coffee. My little hearts weren't quite dry and I bumped them, so I had to scoot those around, and then I'm just cutting off the excess of that pocket. This is a custom sentiment that I made for this card. I have created an entire sheet of them, saved it as a PDF, and I am going to put the link for you over on my blog, carrystamps.com, so you can check it out, print it out, use it however you want to. And it just says, hope your birthday is doggone great. And I'm going to fussy cut that out, but you could also use your electronic cutter with these and have a sheet of sentiments. Maybe you'd only ever need one sheet, right? Yeah. All right, so that is today's card for the Not Too Shabby challenge. Make sure that you play along with us. The digital images at Not Too Shabby are super inexpensive and super cute. You can resize them, print them off at different opacities, and have tons of fun with them. So if you do play along, make sure you use the hashtag Not Too Shabby Digi Challenge. I'll find your card and post it on my blog. All right, thank you so much for watching, and happy stamping. Bye.